Hey everybody, Mike from Just Watch back with a new episode. Everyone, thank you for spending a few minutes of your time with us today. If you like our content, if you're a first-time visitor to the channel, you guys know what to do as far as hitting subscribe button goes. I'd love to have you guys back for future episodes. If you are a long-time viewer, thank you again for spending more time with us today. Definitely appreciate having you guys along. So today, I am excited to be back within the good graces of the Seiko SARB family. You guys that have been around my channel for a long time probably have seen, or hopefully have seen, that I did a couple of episodes on the Seiko SARB033. This was way back, I think back in February or March 2018 when my channel was first getting going. Shot those on iPhone, so they're kind of rough as far as audio and video quality go. Really enjoyed the watch. I wound up flipping it shortly after I did those episodes for whatever reason, I'm not sure why, and had immediate seller's regret. Right around that same time is when Seiko also discontinued the model too. So I was like, ugh, didn't make sense for me to replace it, even though I had seller's regret because the price immediately went up. So kind of left me in a hole on the watches go. Here, let me silence my alarm here if you guys just heard that. Sorry about that. So it kind of left the hole within my Seiko collection. And that's also, I think that Seiko kind of left a hole within their collection as well by discontinuing the model. I've never really understood the decision of the product managers in discontinuing this model, because to me there's kind of a big line within their collection where you have kind of dress watches on one side and sport watches on the other, including all of their great dive watches and all of their other watches that are like that. But to me, the SARB33, 35, and 17 were definitely kind of filled kind of a nice middle ground between the two, similar to what the Datejust does within the Rolex line, or what some of the Omega Seamasters do within the Omega line. You guys know what I mean. SARB kind of left, with the discontinuation, I should say, of the SARB kind of left a void there. So I'm glad to see that they're back somewhat at least, and I don't understand why Seiko discontinued them in the first place. I would like to see them bring something back, especially considering what you're getting on the spec sheet here on this watch too. Just a tremendous value proposition for the money. So anyways, let's get this watch under the lights and go take a look. All right, so here we are under the lights with the SARB033. Let's open it up, take a look. Look at a bubble wrap, something else, huh? It's pretty crazy stuff. Typical white Seiko box. And one thing that's cool that Nauman does is, let me straighten this back out here, it'll just drive me a little crazy. One thing that's cool that Nauman does is they give you an extra NATO strap, different color and style every time. It's a 5-ring style, but just kind of a nice extra bonus that they give you. And there is your typical Seiko SARB033 box, your outer white box. Let's open it up and take a look inside. So Nauman watches paperwork, Seiko paperwork, and your instruction book, of course. This is kind of cool. I haven't seen this before. So this has a measuring tool for measuring lug width. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Nauman. And let's take a look at the watch. I'll zoom in a little bit here. So this is the SARB033, wrapped in all of the plastic as usual. I'll zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So there's your SARB033. Let's get some of this plastic off so we can take a closer look. All right, so let's run you through the watch here real quick. So we have a 38mm stainless steel case, 44mm lug to lug and 11mm thick. It of course features a conical style polished bezel, a flat sapphire crystal on the front, and a see-through case back that is Rolex crystal. You can see the 6R15 movement there. We'll come back to that in a second. The case is 100 meters water resistant, which I think is really nice, and it features a signed Seiko crown that is not screw down, it is push-pull. Typical as far as that goes. So 6R15 movement features hack and hand wind. It is 23 joules with a 50-hour power reserve and vibrates along at 21,600 vibrations per hour. Of course, your first position, you can change your date. Forgot which way it goes there. And the second position, we can change time. So real nice, fine adjustments here as far as the connection between the crown and the minute hand. Just very smooth changing the time. I'm going to come around to about 10:10, a little bit after, as we're advanced to about 20 seconds there. We'll stop right there at 10:10 just for aesthetic purposes. So the handset is a really nice Dauphine style handset. Does feature the Seiko Lumibright on the minutes and hours hand. The second hand has no luminous material at all. Also, your applied stainless index markers have luminous material at the inside tip of each edge. So the same index markers throughout the dial basically what they do is they double up the index marker there at the 12 o'clock. Also forgot to point out that the sapphire crystal does have anti-reflective coating. You can see here there's very little reflection coming off my studio lights there. There you go. There's a nice look at that blue tint that always gives away that AR coating. And you can really see those just nice index markers, how nice of a job Seiko does with that. The dial is fully applied, really nice minimal dial as far as the signing goes, just an applied Seiko logo at the 12 o'clock and then automatic 23 joules below down at the 6, and then you have your Japan 6R15 nomenclature down there just above the minute track. And I really enjoy the minute track on this timepiece as well. Just really fine, and I really like the way that, the minute hand reaches well out to it and just kind of follows it along and brushes along with it. Very typical Seiko profile. Anybody that is a Seiko fan will recognize that profile. It's very kind of unique to Seiko. One other unique thing that they do on this watch too, as far as the case goes, is they do that lug there with that little bit of a step up that I've always enjoyed. I enjoyed that quite a bit about the Seiko SARB033 as well. So the upper portion has the brushed finish and the lower portion has the polished finish. So it's beautifully finished throughout. And there is a good look at the signed Seiko crown. Shaped a lot like the Grand Seiko cases as well, which I think is a good thing. The bracelet is a pin and collar adjustment style, 20 millimeter lug width, tapering down to about 17. I did not measure that, but I'm guessing that's about 17 millimeters. Really nice brushed finish. Everything is very nicely rounded out, polished on the sides, scalloped on the inside. Not going to catch any arm here or there. And then a typical push pin style clasp, signed right there with the twin trigger deployment. Closes very nicely and securely and will not open unless both of those buttons on either side are depressed. And there is a look at the 6R15 23 joule movement. Not super decorated, but still pretty nice. Let's see if we can get a better look. There you go. We can see some of the movement there. So my experience with the 6R15 movement, they come in a pretty wide range as far as what their accuracy spec is from the factory. But in my experience, they keep really accurate time. I think the worst one I've had has been about 4 seconds fast per day. My experience is they typically run within 4 or 6 seconds on either side per day. So pretty good stuff as far as that goes. Let's give you guys a look at the watch on the wrist as well. Just wrist check. I am continuing to wear the Hamilton Field Khaki 38. And before we go here, we'll give you a look at the lume as well. This is actually one of my favorite lumes of all watches. I really liked it the way that they applied the Lumabrite material to this. So there it is on the wrist. So my wrist, if you're new to the channel, you don't know, or just as a reminder, my wrist is 7 inches, just under 7 inches actually. It measures to about 170 millimeters. For you guys that do metric, that's just 5 millimeters underneath 7 inches. Really nice on the wrist. I really appreciate wearing this watch. I'm going to go size up the bracelet right now and get this on the wrist and start wearing it around, as I do really like the look of the watch. Glad to have this one back in the stable for sure. All right, so let's take a look at the lume. Typical Seiko Lumabrite material, glows very bright and very long, so good stuff there as far as the luminous material goes as well. And we're back. So it was good to take a look at that SARB033. Definitely great getting it out of the box, taking a look at it. Same spec sheet as always, just a ton of features and value for the money. I'm going to give this watch some good time on the wrist. We'll get back to you guys kind of for a longer term review on it again as well. In the meantime, if you want to check out some of my older content, like I said, I do have the reviews on the SARB035 that you can check out within my channel as well. So glad to have this one back in the rotation. I think it's going to be an important part of the collection. Speaking of that, I'm also going to do kind of what I think of a perfect 3-watch mini collection, at least for me. So look for that episode coming up soon as well. Anyways, that is it for this one, you guys. If you like the content, you haven't already, you can hit subscribe over here. We're going to have a button popping up on the screen. You guys can hit subscribe. You can see the older content over here as well. And would love to have you guys back for more.